And welcome to another video. Today we are ranking every wide receiver. Okay, that's a lie. We're not ranking every wide receiver, but I'm pretty sure there's at least one receiver from here on each team. So let's get it started with Adonai Mitchell. I recognize his name. I think he was a rookie, but considering that I haven't heard his name in a long time, I'm going to put him in D tier, which means he probably didn't do a lot if he's not that popular. AJ Brown, I'll put in A tier. I don't think he's the elite of the elite, but he's a great receiver. Amari Cooper, got to put him in C tier. At one point in his career, he was very good, but he's been falling off a cliff a little bit. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I'll put up there with AJ Brown. I would take AJ Brown just because of his height and ability to, moss defenders, but Amon-Ra's definitely, yeah, I'd say he's more explosive. He's kind of a more speedy guy. AJ Brown's more of a contested catcher, but both A tier. Brandin Cooks, I'll put Brandin Cooks in B. Maybe that's a little controversial. Actually, okay, that is too controversial. I'll put him in C. Yeah, maybe at one point in his career he was B, but a couple games with Dallas, one game he would go off, the next game he would drop a bunch of passes. So that sounds like C tier material to me. Brandon Aiyuk, um, for last season, I think he's a B receiver. I think if any receiver is going to be in the B tier, it's him. Just because of last season, he was a great receiver. That's why we got rid of Debo. He's the, our wide receiver one. But and then last season, he kind of proved why we traded Debo anyway. But you know what I mean. I don't think that he has potential to be a wide receiver one. He just had too many drop passes. Brian Thomas Jr., I think it's too early in his career to put him A tier. He had great stats last year. I'm not going to say anything bad about that because he really went off. But as you can see with a lot of these receivers, you can have a great year, then you can have a down year. Not saying that he's going to have a down year, but just looking at it from a career perspective, I can't put him any higher than a B at the moment. Calvin Ridley, I'll put him C tier. I like Calvin Ridley, but he's aging pretty quickly. CeeDee Lamb, I'll put A tier. If I think he's one of the best contested catchers in the league. If you need him, he's there. Just launch it down the field. I think, great contested catcher. So I'll put him in A. Chris Godwin, I'll also put A tier. He helped me a lot in fantasy until he tore his ACL. But yeah, he saved me a lot in fantasy. He was getting like 40 points. So he was obviously going off, especially against the Falcons. But slant merchant, whatever, you can call him whatever you want, but he cooked. Chris Olave cooked for about 2 weeks, then did not cook anymore. I'm going to put him in B tier. He has potential. He's a great receiver. He shows sparks, but he just needs to put it all together. Christian Kirk, not as much. To be fair, I don't watch a lot of Bills games, but he's just not electric enough for me. So I'll put him in C tier. Christian Watson, I'm going to put in D tier. Packers, there's no wide receiver one. It's just all wide receiver threes there. Cooper Kupp, now in Seattle. I can't put him in B tier. I was thinking about it, but just because of the career he had, he was the best receiver in the league for a long time. I can't put him in B tier. Got to put him in A. I think he's starting to fall off a little bit, though. Courtland Sutton, I'll put in C tier. He's not terrible, but he's like your average wide receiver, too. Curtis Samuel, kind of in that same boat. I don't. No, I think he's a wide receiver 3. That may be surprising to some people, but Davante Adams in the same boat as Cooper Kupp. He's falling off, but for the career that he's had, he's got to be A tier. DeAndre Hopkins, man, all these old receivers. See, this is the point in the video where I'm like, shit, do I do it off careers or do I do it off what I think they're going to do next season? I'm going to go in the middle with DeAndre Hopkins. For his career, he's A tier, but for what he's going to do next year, I think he's C tier. He's falling off, but I have respect for his career, so I'll put him in B tier. Debo, a very tricky one. Because of last season, I'm going to put him in C tier. Kind of in the same boat as Brandon Ayuk, but I think Debo's he's explosive, but he's like a one-play wonder, really. He'll get a 70-yard touchdown, and the rest of the game he'll do nothing. Devontae Smith, he's a wide receiver too to A.J. Brown. Let's just put it that way. He'll be C tier. Deontay Johnson. Also, I haven't seen a lot of him, but I don't think he's great. DJ Moore was all right. DK Metcalf, I'm going to put him in A tier. I think he deserves to be in A tier. Yeah, all the Packers receivers can go next to each other. Drake London obviously has to be A tier. Great player. Garrett Wilson also saved me in fantasy a lot of games. He had some off games, but Garrett Wilson, just get him the ball and he'll get you a bunch of yards. George Pickens, I'll put him in A tier. He's a crybaby, but other than that, he's pretty good. Jahan Dotson, I'm going to put him right there with Curtis Samuel. I think D tier is a little harsh. I'm going to put him in C tier. They're wide receiver twos, but C tier is fair enough. Jamar Chase, this is wide receiver 3, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 1, and then all the elite guys. Jamar Chase, S tier. I think there's only 2 S tier, maybe 3 S tier receivers in the league, starting off with Jamar Chase. Jameson Williams, I like him, but he's wide receiver 2. Jackson Smith also saved me in a lot of fantasy games, especially down towards the end of the season, and he really did ball out. So I'm going to put him in B tier. If he does like he did on the end of the season last year, though, I'll definitely put him in A tier. Jaden Reed can go right there with all the other Packer receivers. Jalen Waddle, he was good for a long time, but he's kind of like Jackson Smith and Jigba. They're just wide receiver 2s, but great wide receivers 2s at that. Jordan Addison in the same boat. Justin Jefferson, obviously, our other S tier receiver. Keenan Allen, I'll put him in B tier. He had a good career. Keenan Coleman, I don't watch a lot of Bills games, so I'm going to put him with Christian Kirk. Ladd McConkey did really good. I'll put him in B tier. Malik Neighbors, pretty easy A tier. Marquise Brown, C tier, wide receiver 2. Marvin Harrison let me down in fantasy. I want to put him in C, but I'll give him a potential and put him in B. Michael Pittman, he's kind of just been around, always that wide receiver 2. Mike Evans, got to be A tier. Mike Williams, not so much. No. He was good, but just injuries killed him. So C tier. Nico Collins, pretty easy A tier. Puka, A tier. But if he does really good again, then I think he's starting to get to S tier. Rashee Rice, I'll put him in B tier. Rome Odunze, I'll put in C tier. But if he does really good, he gets a B tier. Stephon Diggs, I still think he's an A tier. Tank Dell did good last year before he got injured. Surprise one, no. I think all these guys like Jalen Waddle, Tank Dell, Jack Smith and Jigma, Jordan Addison, they're all together. They should all be together. T. Higgins, I'll throw him in the same boat right there. Terry McLaurin's A tier. He's obviously the wide receiver one. Tyler Lockett. I like Tyler Lockett, but he's got to be B tier. Tyreek Hill. See, this is where do I put him in S tier? I can't really do it. I mean, he has Tua as his quarterback, so maybe that's why, but I just can't do it. Maybe it's Tua's fault, maybe it's his fault, but he has potential to be an S tier. I'm sure everybody knows that. Xavier Worthy, I'll put in C tier. He didn't do great. Zay Flowers, I think he's in the same boat. You know what? I'll put him in B tier. I'll be a little bit. I like Zay Flowers. All right, so D tier is Packers receivers and Adonai Mitchell. C tier is those guys. B tier, basically C tier is wide receiver two, wide receiver ones, great wide receiver ones, and then the best in the league.